Namaskaram. Let us continue with the story of Indra killing Vritra. We had stopped after Indra managed to kill Vritra, and its sequel is what we are going into today. Vritra and also these Trishiras, who was killed by Indra earlier, both of them were supposed to be Brahmins because Tvashta was a Brahmin. So, killing of Brahmins, Indra got a sin because of killing of Brahmins, which is Brahma Hatya. It's supposed to be one of the worst form of sins. So, Indra was horror-stricken. He said this was a severe sin which happened to him. So he didn't know what to do. He wanted to go and hide anywhere, somewhere from everyone else. So he searched a place and just disappeared from heaven. Nobody knew where he is, how to find him. But the Indra is supposed to be the king of the heaven and also of the three worlds. So the three worlds became without a king for a long time. That's a very difficult situation. So gods searched and found a temporary replacement for Indra. There was a king by name Nahusha who had performed 100 yagas, and that enables him to be an Indra. Of course, normally he has to wait for his opportunity, but in this case, Indra wasn't there, so the gods took him to heaven to become the king of gods, Devendra. And they started searching for the actual Indra in the meanwhile. This Nahusha became very haughty after getting the unexpected Indra, the role of Indra, which is very unusual. And one day he happened to see Indrani, Indra's wife. Indrani's name is Shachi. Indrani is the title, like Indra. Indra is also a title. So he saw Shachi, who was very beautiful. So he thought, this beautiful woman is legitimately mine because she is Indra's wife and I am Indra now. So he approached Shachi, saying that he is Indra and she should go to him as his legitimate wife. But Shachi didn't want that. She was a wife very devoted to Indra. So she tried to put all excuses, but Nahusha wouldn't listen to them. So he approached many people, of no use. Finally, she went to Brihaspati, who is the priest of the Devas, Suracharya. And Brihaspati said, okay, you stay with me for a while, let me think of a solution. So Indrani continued, Shachi continued living in with Brihaspati's house. Nahusha heard this and he was very angry that Brihaspati is protecting Indrani against his will. So he was getting impatient. Indra asked Vishnu for a solution, and they all discussed among themselves and thought about a solution. Vishnu suggested that let Indrani ask for some time and tell Nahusha that she will be willing to receive him provided he comes in a palanquin. Palanquin is pallaka in Malayalam, palanquin, carried carried by 4 people on those poles. If he came in a palanquin carried by the Saptarishis, the 7 great sages, Marichi, Angira, Atri, Purastya, Puraha, Kratu, Vasishtha, Agastya is also there. So, Nahusha said, "Oh, that's fine. I'm the Indra, and they all have to do what I ask them to do." And the idea appealed to him that going in a palanquin carried by the Saptarishis, that's a great honor. So the idea appealed to him. So he asked the Devarishis, Saptarishis, to carry him. They were very unhappy, but they didn't show it outside, and they started carrying him. But see, among them, Agastya is short. Supposed to be short in stature. So he couldn't cope up with others. So he was moving slowly. Not only that, his steps were not in sync with the other step. So the palanquin was moving up and down like that. So after a while, Nahusha got wild, and he kicked Agastya on the head with his foot and said, "Sarpa, Sarpa." Sarpa means move, move. That is how the serpent got the name Sarpa. And that made Agastya very wild. He cursed Nahusha, may you become a serpent from now for 1,000 years. For 1,000 years, you will remain a serpent on earth. And when, as a serpent, he comes across Yudhishthira in the Mahabharata story, then he will get his formal stature, not as Indra, but Nahusha. And that story, I think we have covered in Mahabharatam. Yudhishthira coming across a serpent. I will check. And so that was the end of Nahusha. Meanwhile, the gods looked everywhere for Indra and found him in Manasa Saras. It is this lake in the Himalayas, very famous lake. And there were lotus flowers in them. Indra had hidden inside the stem of one of those lotuses. And gods found him, and with a lot of hesitation, they dragged him back. And that is the story of Indra killing Vritra, getting that Brahmahatya thing, and hiding, and Nahusha taking over as Indra, and Nahusha getting the curse from Agastya, and Indra getting back to his former role. With that, this story is over, and now next is in Udyoga Parva is Kauravas and Pandavas continuing with their efforts to assemble all the kings to their side. Some go to Kauravas, some goes to Pandavas, like that. That we shall not go into now. Today I stop by explaining Akshauhini, because the main event in that is such and such king coming with one Akshauhini, like that. This Akshauhini is mentioned in Mahabharata, in Adi Parva itself, the very beginning. And now in this context, it only says Akshauhini. Krishna offered his Akshauhini, one Akshauhini to Duryodhana, and Kritavarma offered his one Akshauhini, and also Shalya came with one Akshauhini. One Akshauhini consists of 100,000, 9,350 foot soldiers, 65,610 horses, 21,870 chariots, and an equal number of elephants. That is the composition of an Akshauhini. Over 100,000 foot soldiers, half of them, 65,000, on horseback, one third of that on chariots, and equal number on elephants. This has a structure mentioned in Mahabharata there itself. It starts building with what is defined as a patti, with one single chariot, 3 horses, one single chariot, one elephant. They are equal in number. 3 horses and 5 foot soldiers. And from here onwards, it goes in multiples of 3. The next level is Senamukham, which is 3 pattis, which will be 3 chariots and 3 elephants and all. And so Patti, Senamukham, the third level is Gulmam, which is 3 Senamukham, and next is Ganam, which is 3 Gulmam, and Vahini, which is 3 Ganam, and Pratana is 3 Vahini, and finally Chamu, which is 3 Pratana. Chamu will have, by these calculations, 729 chariots, equal number of elephants, 2,187 horses, 3,645 foot soldiers. And of course, there is one more level, it is called Anigini, which is 3 chamus. And finally, Akshauhini will be 100 Anigini. And then we will get to this figure. Over 100,000 foot soldiers, half of that on horseback, 21,000, over 21,000 each of chariots and elephants. This is like the military composition. They have units on a very small scale. I don't know all the there is squadron. I don't know. There is a brigade, which is a very high level, and finally division, and then an army. So that is the structure of an Akshauhini, and from now onwards we will say who brought an Akshauhini. That's all, and we stop now. Namaskaram.